GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, here we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Yes, it's time to go street racing in the Ozicar Turbo Touring Car Series here on iRacing on Simspeed TV. The only permanent street circuit in the iRacing service at the moment, with one potentially to come in the not too distant future. We hope this is still a very unique track for the fact that it is a concrete canyon, it has got bumps galore, and it is incredibly difficult to get right. Located in Detroit, the Belle circuit hosts Indy cars, but these are the Audi TCR machines, and they're going to understeer like an absolute pig around this place, and you can't afford even a tiny bit of understeer tonight. You'll see all the action across both races live. My name is Ryan Jones, and alongside with both is Nick Skreyev, Jay Kennedy behind the scenes. Nick, there's a look at the track from above. Belle Isle is an island, in fact, located in Detroit, or next to Detroit, around abouts Detroit.
Yeah, it's exactly right, Ryan. Sometimes covered by snow, but not for today. Enjoying the summer weather of a nice 21 cleared weathered day outside. So yeah, 3.8 Ks. You definitely don't want to go too wide here at Belle Isle, and I reckon we'll see a few of our Audi TCRs with a few bent steering arms.
I think you're definitely right about that. Let's take a look at how they line up for race number one then. Jackson Harlow takes the pole over Steen Ledger, makes his debut and goes second after being fastest in practice. Reese Howell and Jay Cool line up on third and fourth. They had Kobe Williams and Mario Vartanian on row three. Richard Hunter and Stuart Crawford are on the fourth row of the grid. Anthony Contarino and Matthew Spencer line up from 9th and 10th.
Yeah, just outside the top 10, Tim Corn and Daniel Hedershot on row 6, Dennis Hancock and Isaac Edwards. 14th, Ira Feldberg and Philip Bakasoulis, row 8, Jack Patterson and Cameron Thornton rounding out the top 18.
The run to turn one is almost non-existent for the guys in the front row. Harlow does get dumped on the outside of the racetrack though, so a good start from Ledger could mean they end up side by side through 1 and 2. You see the tracks up there on the screen, pretty much identical to what we've seen over the last season and a bit really, across both Aussie car series. Turn 1 and 2, both not quite 90-degree corners. They're quite long, so to speak, but they're also quite short at the same time. I don't know how to describe them other than they're a huge pain in the butt in a front-wheel drive car. And that wall on the outside of turn 2 over the crest where the pace car famously crashed a couple of years ago before the IndyCar Grand Prix at this very circuit. Then it's a long run down to turn 3, the first big braking zone of the circuit where we're probably going to see a lot of the overtaking moves happen today. That, and at the end of the back straight as well, that braking zone in itself is quite tricky because you've got to get the car turned at the same time and pulled up. All right, time's up. Let's go racing around the bumpy streets of Belle Isle. Green flag in the air, and we're underway. And that is a good start for Jackson Harlow. Reese Howell moves away pretty nicely as well, and Ledger is going to have to settle for third as behind him. Vartanian looking to make early progress around the outside of Jay Cool at turn 2. They get very close on the exit, and Jay Cool with the better run, but Vartanian getting a helping hand from his mate Williams. Down to turn 3, can Cool move across to cover him off. He's trying, but he can't get there. Now they're 3 wide. Vartanian on the inside going to take it away, is up ahead of them. It looked like Hal and Ledger were going side by side, and like, well, Ledger gets back into second.
Yeah, that's right. You just see him shuffling through, and Kobe Williams sitting a little bit wide there. We've just seen Steen Ledger lose a place there to Reese Howell. Oh, and really close there between Kobe Williams and Jay Cool.
Look how close they get to the wall on the left as they come out of that corner, trying to open up the throttle as early as they can so they get the run down this straight and then into the braking zone. Through this little kink to the left as you apply the brakes. You've got to square it up nice and early so you can pull it up, running it over that curve on the inside, which sits really in the middle of the racetrack and can catch you out if you're not paying close enough attention. This final sector is incredibly tricky. It is hell for an understeering car like this. It's hell in most cars, to be honest with you, as there's a lot of awkward bumps across these particular corners that could unsettle you and throw you straight into the fence. But it looks like on this side, everyone got through there cleanly, bar that one person that scraped the fence, but I think they got away with it. Ooh, that was close.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Only about 10 seconds at the moment, splitting the whole field. So we haven't had any retirements. Just as we come through, we've just seen...
And it's Thornton.
Cameron Thornton, unfortunately, looping around. And he's going to be a bit tricky there. Very narrow part of the track. He's going to have to do a bit of a 10-point turn there to turn around, as we're just on board here with Steen Ledger looking at the back of Reese Howe. So Steen Ledger from the UK, from Full Send Racing. We've seen a few of the Full Send cars, especially at the PDC 2.2 hour races. We've seen Steen just coming down the inside run.
Oh, gave him a touch, and Howe to jam on the brake pedal to avoid being fed into the tyre bundle. That's allowed Vartanian up the inside of Ledger as Howe again gets fed into the fence, this time by Kobe Williams. They both got into the concrete. I don't know if they've got away with it this time, and a little bit confused as to how Howe got back ahead of Ledger anyway, because we saw Ledger get back by at turn 3, on the opening lap. So he's obviously made the move, probably down here on that first lap to get back ahead of him, and now Ledger finds himself running in 4th after Jay Cool got by him as well, also with a little bit of contact between them. Looks like Williams and Howe have both survived without any damage that's going to affect them, noticeably anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And we've seen really at the front now, Jackson Susan Harlow almost checking out, really. He's very close to 5 seconds clearing the field, as we've seen here to Vartanian, Cool and Steen Ledger. So they're all kind of holding themselves up at the moment with just these little battles happening at the moment.
Yeah. Pulled out 2.5 seconds on this lap has Harlow, thanks to the battles behind. Vartanian, the big mover in the field then early on, up 4 positions after starting on the outside of row 3. Actually, that's the inside of row 3 in 6th position, due to where pole lines up on the racing line is 138.2 for Harlow. For comparison, Steen Ledger, who was second at the start of the lap, did a 41.6. So 3.4 seconds slower. That is a mammoth difference between them. As running just a bit wide. Vartanian running a little bit further wide was the other person. And then here's the two 111 esports drivers battling for 9th and 10th here, Crawford and Heddershide.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty historic battles here between both Crawford and Heddershide, both in these and the V8s as well, for the 111 teammates. And Heddershide going hard into the wall there. That doesn't look good at all. It looks like, I think that's Matthew Spencer's just gone past him there, but yeah, not great news there for Daniel Heddershide.
No, it's not. He drops a spot, falls to 11th. Still all 18 starters running in this race, which is more than I expected after our opening 2 laps. Lap 3 of 9 here in this opening sprint race for the evening. Just having a look through the last couple of corners. They've closed up again between Vartanian, Cool and Ledger. The three of them very much in each other's tyre tracks right now. Vartanian not able to get away, partly in cause for that mistake up at turn 3 where he ran a little bit wide and delayed the application of the throttle as a result. Still riding on board though. Across the line, through 1, using up the grass on the inside. Maybe a little bit wide on the entry, but a good exit as a result from turn 2. Look up the road, look up the road. Here comes Jay Cool on the inside of Mario Vartanian and gets it done. It's a sea of white down there at the moment. What's going on with Jay's computer? That's the old controller on the trading paints, it would seem. At least Steen Ledger's got his livery. As he watched that exchange up in front of him at turn 3, which has been the action spot today. Everyone wants a piece of it at that third corner.
Yeah, and Ryan, I was just actually casting my eyes again over the timing screen. So Jackson Susan Harlow has pulled.
Oh, he's given him a hit.
Lap.
He gave him a hit in the braking zone. Ledger tried to thread the needle and ran out of room. Hits one of them, hits the other one. Check this out. This is wild. This is not going to end well. They're almost 4 wide here at Belle Isle. Never thought I would see it. And this is just a recipe for disaster. That was Kobe Williams absolutely launching it through the middle of those guys, trying to find every advantage he could get in the space of about 3 seconds as Vartanian, J. Cool, Reese Howe, they all had slides going on. Ledger was just desperately trying to hang on. Meanwhile, Jackson Harlow is romping away with it. 10-second lead, 5 laps in, as they are stacking up for second place right now.
Yeah, it's almost right. I think they've all taken turns at hip checking each other there. You can see quite a lot of damage there on the side of, I think that was Kobe Williams' car there. As we're just seeing Kobe come through there on J. Cool.
Richard Hunter gets by Contarino just behind them as well. So this train now extends from second all the way down to, well, I'd say even 10th place potentially. Matthew Spencer, nope, had a shot as well on 11th. And Hancock just off the back of them in 12th position. So this is truly almost a full field train, at least half the field involved in it, encompassing everyone atop the top 10. Well, Harlow will have absolutely no clue about what's going on behind him. He could probably afford to put it in cruise control for the rest of this one, as that was cool looking up the inside of Williams, but not quite close enough to execute that move.
Yeah, we're seeing a few quite achievers there in the way of Richard Hunter and Reese Howe. So they've just pulled themselves into the mix. So they could see, obviously, that the guys in front were checking each other up a little bit by taking it multiple cars wide on a few of these turns.
Look at the steering angle they're having to put in here, Nick, as well, just to get these cars turned.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So almost past 90-degree lock there on some of these really sharp turns. Just seen him pass through another lap now. So Steen Ledger just pulling a second now, almost to Mario Vartanian. So starting to try and put a bit of a chase down to Jackson Susan Harlow. Obviously, it's a little bit late now in this race to pull a gap like that. Potentially maybe in the feature, but yeah, Steen Ledger has picked up the pace a little bit. Mario Vartanian was about half a second off the mark there.
Hunter attacking Howe, who's had a torrid last few laps around this place, doing well to still hang on to 6 with a bit of damage on the front of that car, running very wide towards the fence, which juts out on the exit of that corner, and it becomes incredibly easy to just wash wide into it if you get on that throttle a little bit too early. It looks like Ledger is now benefiting from having some time to reset his focus, if you will, and he's pulling away from Vartanian, or at least maintaining the gap, who's in a similar boat over Kobe Williams behind, who's still got J. Cool for close company. Then that battle with Reese Howe and Richard Hunter, who's just fallen off the back of him for those last couple of quarters. So check this out. 4 cars behind them. Contarino, Crawford, Spencer, and Heddershot are really closing up for 8th.
Yeah, I was just wondering what Richard Hunter was doing there. He was sitting rather shallow on a few of those corners, so he's definitely going to get caught by this pack coming up behind here of, DPR, 2 of the 111s, and Anthony Contarino as well. So it looks like it's going to heat up. We've only got a couple of laps remaining now.
Spencer showing the nose into turn 1, and oh my, it might actually work. No, there's contact again. That looked like it might have been wheel to wheel. I wonder if it's damaged the steering on that car as Heddershot is able to slot in between. Now, does he play rear gunner for his teammate, or does he attack Crawford here? He backs off early, and Spencer throws it in very deep. Heddershot trying to hang tough on the inside, but it's not going to happen. And Matthew Spencer, obviously, not any damage from that contact with Crawford, and he's able to take his spot back Meanwhile, Kobe is under a little bit more pressure now. This is about as close as J. Cool has been since that big exchange a few laps ago through this next sector.
Yeah, we'll see what happens between these two. Kobe Williams is a pretty aggressive attacker and defender here, so I think J. Cool's in with a fair task ahead of him. As it looks like they're just coming through the back part of the track now, so not too many other battles to speak of at the moment. I think Richard Hunter's about half a second back from Reese Howe here, so he's the next group behind Jay there.
.6 seconds the gap for Harlow over second. Over these guys, it's 22 seconds.
Yeah, you can see as well that battle with Kobe Williams and Jay Cool's slowing them up quite a lot as well. We've just had Vartanian is a second and a half now to those two.
Look at that. Making sure there's no room on the inside for anyone to go by as up the road. Again, is on the defense from Hunter, who looks for the switchback through the corner. He gets it. He's up his inside in the background. Contarino's in front of a big logjam of cars. Spencer gets in there, gets into the side of the 111 Esports machine, slides and bounces over the grassy curve on the inside, and somehow hangs on to his spot again. Contarino is hoping and praying that he keeps on doing that and allowing himself to get away, as Hunter did get by Howe with that move, and Williams is still fending off Cool.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just quickly look at the timing screen as well. So Susan Harley putting in another fastest lap of the race so far. So he's on an absolute blinder. He's definitely going to be the one to beat in the feature.
We have had a retirement just quite quietly as well. We haven't picked up on Isaac Edwards, unfortunately, having to bring it to pit road after finding the fence somewhere on the racetrack. Still impressive, though, to have 17 cars running, despite the action we have seen as we get the white flag out there for our drivers. Harlow took it quite some time ago, I might add. Cool, really pressuring through one. That's going to hurt him, though, all the way down at turn 3. Such a way you've got to set yourself up, as Crawford had a peak at turn 1. And at turn 2, he forces the gap. He forces the issue. He gets alongside. He gets run. Matthew Spencer's going to go through the middle. And they all touch. And into the fence, Crawford and Contarino.
Yeah. We hear back from race control on what the go with that is. And Spencer as well going dead straight as well. So he's lost a couple of positions. So the big winner in that is Hedderschild and Dennis Hancock there.
Take a look at the replay after we wrap up this race. It doesn't look like J. Cool is going to be able to get by Kobe Williams. Try as hard as he may. All the way out front, unchallenged, absolutely dominant, and I reckon he's been just in cruise control since about lap 3 of this race. Jackson Susan Harlow comes back to the series and makes his mark with the most dominant win we've ever seen in the series. Harlow is going to get it done at Detroit, at Belle Isle, and Steen Ledger behind him on his debut in the series is going to come home with a very commendable second place in one of the all-time battles we've ever seen in the series. Vartanian will come home in third as well.
Yeah, just hearing over the radio there. So Matthew Spencer with a post-race penalty there. Just seeing a few of the two 111 cars as well cross over the line there. Not too sure what's happened to Hedderschild there, because he did actually have quite a bit of a lead there, and you can see Crawford coming through as well. So, oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong 111 car. That's Ira Felberg. So good showing there by the 111 cars. Just seeing Cameron Thornton finish his race off there.
Jack Patterson 16th, the final driver to come to the line, having a tough race I think a few mistakes as well. So let's go through our race results from Belle Isle. After we look at the results, we'll take a look at the replay. So Jackson Harlow wins. His final margin was 14.3 seconds over Steen Ledger. His final lap of the race was only 200ths away from his fastest lap of the race. Mario Vartanian came home in third. Where are our overlays? There they are. Kobe Williams finishes fourth, at Jay Cool in fifth. Hunter and Hal in 6th and 7th after their battle towards the end. Hedderscheid, Hancock, and Spencer end up 8th, 9th, and 10th after that dramatic last lap crash.
Yeah, so we'll see Spencer shuffle down the order after the penalty. After the penalty there. So we've got Contarino, Philip Bakasoulis, Stuart Crawford, as we saw in that incident before, Ira Felberg, Cameron Thornton, Jack Patterson, and Tim Court, with Isaac Edwards not able to finish.
All right, let's dissect that incident then. Coming through 1-2 over the crest and into the fence went Spencer and Crawford. It all started really with Crawford showing the nose down at turn 1, and I think it upset Contarino in terms of his rhythm. You look at the replay here.
Yeah, it almost looked like he was going for the crossover there because he was showing it to the left, crossing through there and going really deep there on the right.
Just left the door open.
Yeah.
Gave the run to Spencer because they both had to check up to avoid driving each other into the fence, and then Spencer just, I think, misjudged the gap. It didn't quite thread the needle as cleanly as he would have hoped.
Yeah, so you can kind of see where race control are coming from for that one. That's a...
What about the onboard from Hedderscheid? That'll look interesting.
Yeah, you can see Spencer was like almost... There was a car width there, but not much either side, so probably a little bit optimistic trying to pick that gap there. I think for him to run that closely together down the straight was probably really never going to happen there.
Yep, and the onboard from Hedderscheid, 3 wide in front, and he was so fortunate to avoid that crash. Jink to the left, and he's able to keep on going and finish that race in 8th place. With that, we'll go to a quick break here on Simspeed TV, but stay with us because on the other side of this, coming back with qualifying and race number 2 from the streets of Belle Isle, will we see another incident like this in the next 25 minutes.
Where the field is rolling out for the start of today's 400-lap race on this .625-mile racetrack. Here's the starting lineup. On the pole from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Ford qualifying and Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into second position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison. second win of 1987.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's coming the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.
God, what?
Welcome back to Belle Isle, to our coverage of the Ozicar Turbo Touring Car Series, brought to you proudly by Simspeed Sideways Photography and a Prestige Trophy Badge and Engraving. My name is Ryan Jones, and alongside me in the booth is Nick Scarrett. I forgot how to say your name again.
You'll get there.
Skrayev. Nick Skrayev.
Perfect.
There we go. Anyway.
And I'm with Ryan Jans.
I mean, my excuse is your name is spelt very weirdly. You can't screw up Jones, but you can screw up how to get around this Belle Isle circuit. Let's remind ourselves of how to get around. What a lovely segue that was.
Belle Isle.
Oh no, come on, Nick. Come on.
It is how it's spelled, that's right, Jay.
And your name is spelt like Scaragee, but you know, some things just aren't how they look.
So some pretty good action that we've already seen now at all the 14 turns here at Belle Isle. Saw some pretty big overtaking manoeuvres as we saw before in turn 7 and turn 3. Conditions looking about the same.
Yep, and judging by those flags, it is a bit windy out there as well. Canadian flag, interestingly. Is this... Yeah, this is in... No. Where is... Detroit's in America.
It is in America,
Why
yes.
is there a Canadian flag, is my question.
That's
I
right.
guess
And the land of Check It as well.
That is the best land, of course. I mean, you'll never see an Australian track flying a New Zealand flag. Screw those guys. Am I right? Jay's just informed me that most Australian tracks in iRacing actually do. So, that's great. We're just filling time until qualifying starts, which it just has, but apparently no one's on the racetrack. And if they are, Jay's opting not to show them.
Yeah, so we've got Jackson Sears and Harlow already out there, so he's pretty keen to get some laps in. So only get 3 laps here with qualifying, so pretty ample time there, you would say, for 10 minutes. It's not a very long lap here.
No, it's not. And I think we can safely say Harlow might be on pole, unless he makes a mistake. But Steen Ledger, he had some really good one-lap pace. He showed it in practice and was fastest. In qualifying, he just missed out and qualified second. Obviously, in the race, that margin between himself and Harlow was slightly skewed by the mammoth battle he was a part of for most of that one. But he's there or thereabouts, I think. Definitely a chance for him to definitely take it to Harlow again in this session. Good opportunity for some of those guys to recover as well. Guys like Crawford, Spencer, and Edwards, who notably had issues in that first race, to put themselves further up the grid, maybe out of trouble for this next one. And don't forget, a mandatory pit stop as well for a minimum of 2 tyres at some point in this one.
Yes, that's exactly right there, Ryan. Really want to start looking at where do you reckon this strategy will be? Will it be worth, so being a tight and technical track like Belle, is it worth trying to get in nice and early and get that overlap, or worth trying to stick it out there in the fresh air?
I would be coming in at... I'd just be gauging it based off where I am in the field, because obviously we've seen it's hard to pass in this place, and the risks of being around other cars are high as well. If they can make a mistake, it very could easily take you out as well, with how tight this place is, as you say. So, if you're stuck behind someone, pit, get yourself clean air. The tyres aren't going to make a huge difference. They never really will over the course of 25 minutes. It's all just about the heat that you get into them, and after a lap, they're pretty much going to be hot anyway. You're going to go back onto cold tyres. It's all circumstantial.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And you'd think that if you were Jackson, Susan, Harlow, or Steen, or one of the front runners, if it's worth trying to stick it out as long as you can and not be almost the opposite. Instead of having that clean air at the front, having that pit in early and then be stuck in there with back markers, because that can definitely cost you as well.
Yeah, that's another thing you've got to be careful of. Don't know how much of an issue it'll be at this place. Might be an issue for Harlow if he opens up a 10-second gap after 2 laps again. He could end up pitting and ending up right in the middle of the action, where he does not want to be. Here he is, coming through the kink that leads to the start-finish line. Jackson Harlow, what's the gauntlet that he's going to put down? It's a 38.167, and it's fastest by a second. Make that 0.3. Steen Ledger goes up into second place there.
Yeah, I was actually just looking at those sector times as well. He's fast on absolutely every single sector. So, sorry, that's actually just changed. Steen Ledger a little bit, only a whisker faster, maybe a 1/10 of a second on that last sector there. But we'll see that the times tumble down a little bit while these tyres heat up.
1/10 of a second can be a lot, especially when the margin's only 2.5 of a second. Jay Cool, where does he go? He goes third, a second back. It's a 2-horse race in qualifying at the moment. Back at Sulis, a few seconds off the pace with that effort. And Isaac Edwards currently up in 9th after finishing 18th in the last one, after fighting the fence. Big damage to the front of his car I spotted when he was on pit road at the end of that one. Yeah, hardly the autoglass. Race on Oz entry. As it looked at the end of the back straight, gets through there pretty nicely. Didn't use too much of the curb to unsettle the car. Just used enough to help rotate. And keeps it off the wall, keeps momentum up. Momentum's key to this corner. Then trying to set yourself up for the braking zone while using as little steering of it as possible, while still making a left-hand and then a right-handed turn at the same time. And then into the last 2 corners. Very easy to hit the fence in both of these.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We're just on board with Isaac Edwards now. So, yeah, had a pretty unfortunate race. Was relatively clean though, so we didn't see too many incidents aside from that big one that involved Hedderschild, Crawford, and Spencer. But yeah, we could see, as we see the cars shuffle around with these pit stops, we could see a bit more action like Belle is a bit famous for. We've seen on the Just Send It with the stadium trucks, so many incidents and stuff. So yeah, there's not too many places to run off here, just a few bits of grass here and there.
Dennis Hancock doesn't have a time yet, but he's got plenty of time, 4.5 minutes just under, still remaining in the session. Harlow's advantage now has been stretched to just under half a second over Ledger. Kobe sitting in third ahead of Vartanian in fourth. Howe rounds out the top 5 at the moment.
Yeah, just seeing where some of these 111 cars before. So we did see earlier Stuart Crawford and Hedderschild running pretty close together in the first race. As we see, there's a little bit of a gap at the moment. So Hedderschild a little bit off the pace there from his 111 teammate. Just looking now at the split time. So Dennis Hancock, pretty consistent over the moment. I'm not too sure whether or not he'll make any advantage on that lap, as we see Jackson Susan Hello again with a 137.2. So absolutely blinder there. So that is going to push him to 8/10 to Steen Ledger. Kobe Williams putting in a faster lap, so that's getting still a little bit off from Steen, but yeah, we can see it starting to heat up right at the front here.
Howe improves to 4th. Crawford in 8th will stay there. Tim Corn, can he leapfrog Crawford? No is the answer to that one. Back at Sulis. Can he put down lap time with 2 and a bit minutes remaining? He'll get just one more attempt if he has enough laps up his sleeve, which he doesn't. So his final lap now crosses the line. What is it? It's invalidated, so he will start from either 16th or 17th for this one. Jack Patterson also without a time and not showing any signs of setting one. And here's Crawford once again in 8th place, but he's done his 3 laps, so whatever he does won't count.
Yeah, so a bit unfortunate there for Bakatsulis not registering a lap, so he was a little bit further up the pack, as we saw in race 1. So he will be at a big disadvantage there, but yeah, just pushing that little bit too hard, unfortunately, as we see Stuart Crawford there taking way too much curb on that. Probably just testing a few lines and stuff out. Probably a good chance as well to practice pulling into the pits as well. So we've seen over the entire season how much time can be saved with really timing and getting that pace entering the pit lane.
Pit entry is slightly difficult here because you're coming in there at 160 kilometers an hour. As Crawford gives me a nice reference there. Hard onto the brakes and into your pit bay. It's not so much technical, but just judging the braking zone right when you're coming in from high speed. Back at Sulis, still hunting for a lap time. Even if he does get one, it won't count now that he's passed the 3 allocated timed laps. But that might be why his times aren't registering as well. Those internet connectivity issues, as he practices his pit lane entry now. Really important to shave those tenths off because it can gain you a lot in the long run. Can be the difference between coming out in clean air or coming out behind a pack of cars that can hold you up for the rest of the race. Speaking of, let's look at our starting grid for our second race, our final race of the evening here from Belle Isle. Harlow's on pole again from Steen Ledger in second. Kobe Williams and Jay Cool lining up in 3rd and 4th ahead of Reese Howell and Mario Vartani. In row 4 will be Richard Hunter and Stuart Crawford, and Tim Court and Cameron Thornton starting from 9th and 10th.
There we go. Just outside the top 10, Anthony Contarino, Daniel Hedderschild, Dennis Hancock, Isaac Edwards, and just seeing a few updates there. Ira Felberg and Philip Bakasulis not registering a time on row 8.
Of course, Jack Patterson there as well. Interesting, we don't see Matthew Spencer in this one after his late race tussle. Wonder what the story is there for him. Weather conditions are the same as they were in race number 1. Estimated race distance of 15 laps, which should put us somewhere around the 25-minute mark in terms of time taken to get from green to checkered flag. I think if Harlow can get away and lead out of turn 3, he might have one hand on this race already, because with the battling and aggressiveness of those drivers we've seen behind, I think they might just trip over each other again.
Yeah, that's exactly right there. You really would hope that Steen can try and get the pace down a little bit earlier there, but he does have some pretty aggressive drivers on the road behind of Kobe Williams and Jay Cool.
Don't forget Vartanian as well, starting from 6th, which is where he started in race number 1, before finishing in 3rd, running as high as 2nd early on in that race as well. Looks like Reese Howe pretty much in the same spot too. A lot of consistency between sessions here at Belle Isle, which is a little bit surprising given how easy it can be to make a mistake, graze the fence, and elevate lap time, and things like that. Off tracks are not really a factor here at this place, because if you go off the track, you've probably managed to teleport yourself outside of the concrete canyon. Green flag for race number 2, and we are underway. A better start from Ledger this time, but still not enough to get by Harlow into turn number 1, but he is able to comfortably slot into 2nd places. Behind him is Kobe Williams, and then comes Jay Cool, Reese Howe, and Mario Vartanian, all right in each other's tyre tracks as here comes Ledger. Harlow forced to go on the defensive in the braking zone for turn number 3. Ledger gonna send it around the outside as Jay Cool goes in very deep, very late on Kobe Williams, and had to really pull it up late on through the corner, and that's really stacked up the guys behind him and Reese Howe and Vartanian.
Yeah, seeing not too many change positions at the moment, and yeah, as we're seeing Kobe Williams and Steen Vartanian trying to hold on to Jackson Susan Harlow. They will know that he's going to be making a run for it, but thankfully a pretty clean race so far.
Down the back straight is Ledger close enough for another look? No, not this time. Look at how Vartanian closes up on the brakes as well, and over the jump. It's not quite a jump, but some of the cars are reacting almost as if it is, with 2 tyres launching into the air through that pretty small curb that sits in the middle of the racetrack and denotes the inside of the racing surface down at that particular corner, and then through the fast left and slower right to perceive the 2 fast right-handers that finish off the lap, both 90-degree corners and both incredibly tricky, especially when you're in a pack and you can't quite sight your turn-in point. As we complete lap 1, and the lead for Harlow is 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, you can see our top 3, or almost top 4 and top 5, pretty well spread out at the moment, as we're seeing, looks like a few cars are already opting to pick quite early. I'm not too sure what's going on with that, as we're seeing, Dennis Hancock and Hedderschild and a few other cars there. Oh no! Vartanian off, and that's really lucky there for Richard Hunter that did just miss him, but he missed his brake marker, obviously, with a car spinning in front of him.
So that was Reese Howe getting turned around and spinning about 1,080 degrees as he and Vartanian came into contact, and Hunter did get a piece of it. It was more fortunate for Vartanian as Hunter came about a whisker away from hitting his back end through the corner. Watch the onboard from Hunter here. We've got 2 replays coming up. They were very close together the entire straight. I don't know if I can blame anyone for that particular issue, as Ara Felberg also had an issue. At turn 1, the car refused to turn, and he fires straight into the tyre bundle. Here's the onboard from Hunter. Look how close he gets to turn 3 at the back of Vartanian as well.
Yeah, you can just see up the road there. Probably wasn't expecting that, and trying to keep an eye on his braking marker there. Pardon me. Yeah, Richard Hunter there completely missing the mark. So a bit unfortunate for him. Could be a penalty there for that RMS car. I didn't catch who that was.
Vartanian, and I don't know. They were
Yeah.
both running pretty close to each other. Race control might put the onus on him as the overtaking car to leave more room, but at the same time, if he didn't turn in, then it's not his fault. He did hit the wall there, though. That was his fault, very much so. And he's actually checking the car down the straight, wiggling around to see if the steering is straight, which he'd be lucky if it is. He lost the right-hand side mirror, though, and Anthony Contarino is also missing the right side mirror, and he's managed to knock it off pretty cleanly. No other visible damage to the right side of that car.
Yeah, it's still pretty early at the moment, so they're just kind of finding their feet at the moment. But yeah, we could see both Vartanian and Contarino giving that right-hand side wall a pretty big smack there. Just catching a replay now of Anthony Contarino. Pretty long sweeping turn that, and you can see that little crest there, and yeah, just pretty big bang there. Hopefully that hasn't bent his steering too much.
About as sizable as Vartanian's was. And Vartanian escaped, I imagine Contarino has, based off their pace over the rest of this lap since that incident or contact. They're both alright for now. Lap 3 of 15, we saw some people come in very early on lap 1 to get their cars serviced, potentially even repairs if there were some troubles further back. Tim Corn, the first of those drivers to have made a pit stop, and he runs in the moment at 10th position, ahead of Daniel Hederscheid and Philip Backett-Soulis, Dennis Hancock as well. Harlow obviously stayed out with that purple lap. Richard Hunter and Isaac Edwards have also pitted. So 10th on down.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And just looking now that we've got possibly a few retirements with Ira Feldberg and Reese Howe not continuing on, as we're just looking now at Richard Hunter and a little bit further up to Steen Ledger and Jay Cool. So Cool pulling that gap into Steen Ledger. It was almost over a second, I think, a few laps ago, but Jay Cool putting in some pretty good pace to pull him back in.
Jay Cool seems to have a problem today with not being able to pass cars. I don't know if it's a problem with him or a problem with the track. It is hard to pass here. And for his sake, the guys he's been behind, he's been very close to on pace, and we often see, unless you have a significant advantage over someone, it's hard to pass them because they are pretty much identical to you in the braking zones. And for you to pass them in the braking zones, you have to go much deeper than they're already comfortable doing. Which is why sometimes you'll sit behind someone for lap after lap going, please make a mistake so I can pass. Williams and Vartanian are also together on the racetrack. They're also together in a voice chat at the moment. Wonder if Mario is egging Kobe to get a bit of a move on at the moment, potentially holding him up through the last 2 quarters. Battle for 4th.
Yeah, and just as you were saying that as well, Ryan, so Belle Isles doesn't really have too many, it is made up of sharp corners and longish straight sections, but there isn't really such a sustained section to get that good draft on. I know Central Avenues
Here.
Yeah, just as they come along here, potentially you could get a bit of a draft into this corner, so you can see Kobe Williams sitting quite across the road there. So as you can see, Vartanian right on the back there, so Kobe defending pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, Williams, he's driving the racing line, which is oftentimes Mario's hit the fence again. That's at least 3 pieces of contact he's had, 1 with the car, 2 with the fence, so he picks up. Mirror's 10 on the car, crucially. He can look behind him. Not that he really ever seems to look behind him. Williams is using what is often the best defense, which is not to defend. Just drive the racing line. As long as you're on the racing line, you're going as fast as you can possibly go. And you can really throw it into the corners like he's doing right there. As soon as he goes offline and drives a shallower entry, he's having to slow up more to get the car turned, and also hurts his exit. But that mistake he made has allowed Vartanian to close right up onto him. Look at how he angled the car open for that corner. Pulled it out a lot further to the left than Williams did, trying to get the drive off to close up down here through the last 2 corners, and then get the run down the main straight into turn 1 potentially.
Yeah, you can definitely see, Kobe Williams smacking the wall there. So he's definitely finding on the limit now, as you can see Vartanian knowing not that he'll be able to get past Kobe Williams there, so he's going to try and make a bit of time up in the pits. But yeah, you can see that just that Audi of Kobe Williams sliding all over the track there. Just seeing a few of the 111 cars in the background as well, so that does look like Stuart Crawford with teammate Oro Felberg in the background. As we're just looking at Jackson Susan Harlow now, so 5.5 seconds to Steen Ledger, just driving absolutely pinpoint accurate there. Like, can't seem to do to put a foot wrong at the moment. We're just seeing Steen Ledger there pulling a little bit of a gap now to Jake Cool, so about a second and a little bit, so maybe 1.2 seconds. Jake Cool using all that room there of the Belle Isle circuit.
So that's that perfect example of trying to find the clean air from Vartanian there. He pitted because he was getting very close to the back of Williams, and he's come out now with a lot of track in front of him with no one to hold him up at all. He can find his braking points and turning points. Looks like the picture of duct taped a mirror back onto that car because he came in with one and he's left with two.
Yeah, as we just see just off in the background there from Vartani and Stuart Crawford, so he's already one of the others that are pitted. So Mario in 8th position, the first on road of the pitted one. So we've only got 7 to go at this as we're almost past the halfway point now.
Williams opts not to react immediately as Cameron Thornton. That confused me for a second. I thought he'd found his way outside of the track, but that is actually the pit entry from an angle I've never seen it before. Jack Patterson has found his way up to 7th place, damage to the front right of that car. You can see the fender's being pushed back and the tyre exposed. Now, in real life, I'd say that's prime danger for a puncture from debris getting into the tyre, but in iRacing, not particularly likely. And he continues on, actually ticks into 6th as he goes by another car on pit road. And here's back at Silas and Richard Hunter. These two have closed up. Back at Sulis, closing up to Hunter since we last picked up on these guys about lap 4 or 5 it was.
Yeah, Bacchussil's definitely lining up at the moment, feeling like he might have the pace. We're just looking over the last laps as well. So, yeah, Richard Hunter definitely a bit quicker of Bacchussilus, as we'll see him lining up for this overtake onto this right-hander. Oh, almost out breaking himself there. Bacchussilus way off the apex there. So great
actually,
work there, bud.
Yeah. So actually, Bacchussilus had got by him already, and Hunter's gone and passed him again. So interesting to see what's actually happened there to cause that little change. Because I know for a fact that Bacchussilus was behind Hunter when we first hired, but he's back there now. He's a lot further behind Tim Conk than he was at the time, and Thornton and Heddershard have emerged in front of him, as well as Thornton just edged across in the braking zone there, because Heddershard was looking pretty strong up on the brakes, and this is very much a no-go zone for any sort of overtake. And then this right-hander can be incredibly deceiving and inviting as the car in front swings to the left, the inside opens up, and you think, yes, I will put my car there. And then the car turns in and you go, no, I've made a terrible mistake. And Heddershide, thankfully, is aware of the deceptiveness of that corner and opts just to sit behind.
Yeah, Heddershide as well. Pretty on pace at the moment there. Cameron Thornton has had a slightly faster best lap, but it does feel like Heddershide, potentially with the warmer tyres, we did see Cameron Thornton. He's only
just got into that left rear and almost hooked him into the fence.
Heddershide with the pretty strong moves at the moment. He's definitely got the warmth in the tyres. Cameron Thornton only a 1 lap there on the tyres that he's just come out of the pits with.
Side by side into turn 3, preferred line, and later on the brakes makes it a relatively easy move for Daniel Heddershide, putting that 111 esports car up into the top 10. Started this race from 12th, so going well for him at the moment. Still a few drivers yet to pit. Jackson Harlow opts to come in. Steen Ledger immediately follows, and so too does Jay Cool, I saw in the background. Kobe Williams is going to make it 4 from 4. And is Contarino going to make it 5 from 5? He sure is. So that looks like it could be the limit of the fuel. Well, in fact, they don't need to fuel the cars up, do they, on pit road? They're just taking tyres. So, interestingly, you'll react to Harlow there.
Just trying to see with Jack Patterson as well. So he's the last at the moment of who haven't pitted. So we'll see if he comes in now and make it 6 from 6.
Nope.
No, and it looks like Jack Patterson will stay out there, as you can see, just lurking in the background.
Everyone reacted to the race leader, which is why they all came in on the same lap. They're not limited by field, just limited on where they want to be. Remember that undercut that Vartanian tried? Well, it hasn't really worked out, because Williams has rejoined ahead of him on the racetrack, and see him weaving down the straight. That's not anything to do with Vartanian. He's just trying to get some extra temp into those tyres, so that he's got confidence in the car and the brakes as he pulls it up and turns it in down at turn 3. And this gap will probably shrink ever so slightly over the rest of this lap as those tyres continue to come up to optimal working range. And in fact, they're both behind Patterson right now, so he could potentially hold Williams up here. And that could push him back into the clutches of Vartanian.
Yeah, and it's exactly right. And Jack Patterson is technically racing for position, even though that he hasn't pitted. So he won't be blue flagged. He'll be able to stay on it, as we see that gap from Patterson to Kobe Williams absolutely close up there. So Williams, this will bring the car behind of Vartanian right onto there, and finding a gap, both of them there, threading the needle. And it's spun Jack Patterson there. It's a pretty tight part of the circuit, so it's going to be a bit tricky for him to flick it around.
Yeah, that's awkward spot indeed. Williams almost got into the back of him, and Patterson saw it and moved out wide. Vartanian almost got into the back of him as well, and I don't know if there was contact, whether he just spun it on his own. It was certainly very close. He had his hands full with those two guys trying to pass him, and did he get it going again after ending up? He's still there, and he's in the fence on the other side of the racetrack now, and so this is gone from promising to just absolutely disastrous with Patterson. Big shame for him. Here comes Vartanian with the run to the inside. On the brakes, it was very deep, and it's managed to pull it up. Williams with the crossover move, can't quite get there. So, eventually, Vartanian does get by Williams. A little bit harder than I think he probably wanted, though, after going for the early pit stop, as now into pit lane comes. I imagine that's Jack Patterson. As Fountain Drive, Scott Fountain, coincidentally also the name of our other director here at Simspeed TV, often just referred to as the other director.
Yeah, we're just seeing Kobe Williams is definitely holding that gap now to Vartanian, so sticking with him at the moment. He's got the temperature in the tyres. Potentially might see an attack back there. He's right on the bumper, but this section of the track is quite short there, so it won't be a big pull on the draft. Big smack of the fence there by Kobe Williams. It's not what you want, and again into that fence. He possibly pushing that little bit too hard there.
Turning the wheel too much. There comes a point where you turn the wheel enough and the tyres stop responding. They start scrubbing across the surface of the road because they're at an angle too great for the car to actually grip up. It just starts sliding across the tarmac, and that's exactly what happened there for Williams. He was well past 90 degrees in terms of steering lock through that final corner as well. 5 laps to go, 4.5 laps to go rather, in this race now for our race leader Jackson, Suzel and Harlow. Crawford and Cornt pretty close together as well for P6 here. Remember, Cornt was one of the drivers that pitted extremely early on in this one. And it's worked out pretty well for him so far. Already up 2 spots, so if we make it +3, we can get to Crawford.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ryan. Yeah, so it was Cornt, Bakasulis and Dennis Hancock were all in almost on the first lap, it seemed, as was just seeing just catching off screen, Kobe Williams still running on the back there of Vartanian there, as we just see Jay Cool, someone else he was in a battle with. I think that was Stephen Ledger. Sorry, Steen Ledger. Yeah, we're seeing it really heat up here between Vartanian and Williams, so still a few more laps to go. Lap 11 of 15. As Susan Harlow crosses the line again, so that now makes it 12.
Williams slaps the fence again, and still that left mirror stays attached to that car. It's made of strong stuff. Whatever's connecting those two pieces of bodywork at the moment is the motor simulation replay. As they come out of the final corner, and whack goes Williams in the background. That camera maybe a bit too far down the road. And someone else actually grabbed the fence behind them as well. 2 cars back, that would be Tim Corn. He gave it a little nudge behind Crawford.
Yeah, Tim Corn definitely with a great showing. The Savo right up the order here as we just see Richard Hunter taking that 10th position away from Cameron Thornton. So really line him up there. It seems Cameron Thornton not having a good run with the DPR cars, as we just see just ahead of Jack Patterson, who's a lap down. So this could potentially play into it. He'll be getting the blue flag now, so he will need to lead Bacchus and Thornton through.
There we go. This pulls off to the side. It's disastrous in terms of his own pace, but it's very respectful and kind to those other drivers going by, and we're hoping they repay the favour in future races should that scenario occur. With roles reversed. Let's go on board again with Williams here as he chases Vartanian. That's not Williams, that's Vartanian. Come on, Jay. There we go. Oh, he's in the fence again. He's not liking that last corner. This is a good angle. You can see how hard it is to pick your turning points when you're right up behind someone. You just see the braking marker for turn 1 because it's up on the fence, but as it comes through turn 2 and up over turn 3, the actual outside is slightly masked by the car in front, and he just kept it out of the fence. Again, fortunate the braking markers for turn 3 are up on the fence, but you see them very late. You're chasing the car in front.
Yeah, just seen a perfect apex there by Vartanian. You can see him really launching the car there off to the curb, both off that wall there. You'd see there'll probably be a few DPR imprints along the backside of that track there, with Kobe Williams running it pretty wide. Keeping it off the wall at the moment though.
When the car in front of you keeps nailing the apexes, it's great because you often find yourself following in their footsteps, so to speak, or in their tyre tracks, rather. It's bad when they lock up, run wide, or nab the fence, because you can find yourself in a bit of a monkey see, monkey do scenario. Especially when you get yourself into a bit of a rhythm and you start following that car and not really thinking about what else you're doing. Suddenly they make a mistake and you go right with them. Williams is making plenty of mistakes of his own at the moment to counteract that. See if he can keep it off the fence for the 13th time of asking. Through the penultimate corner. Through the last corner. He grazed it, but for the most part he kept it off.
Yeah, good showing by Kobe Williams. He's pretty new here to the TCRs, but he's shown so much pace. As we've seen as they go through that left-handed crest there, he's still right on the back of Vartanian, but it's just not enough at the moment. As we'll see, it looks like he does have the draft though, so making a move where it counts.
Oh, they were two very quickly converging lines, and Williams did good to pull it up and not slide as the side of that blue machine. But it is on for P4 and P5 with a lap and a bit remaining. Did Vartanian just slap the fence there, or did he bounce over the gutter that is right before the fence and can unsettle the car just as much as slapping it, albeit without the damage that comes with a hit to the concrete? Does he look for the inside here? No, Williams is going to cover him off. They'll go side by side into the braking zone. At the end of the back straight, Williams slides out in front over the curb Sorry, Vartani, Williams with the crossover. Wheel to wheel through the final sector. Brave stuff around the outside. Gonna sweep up into P4. Kobe Williams, a brilliant move. Now all he's got to do is hold on to it for one lap. And to do that, he will need to keep it out of the fence, because if he hits it, he is going to have Vartanian breathing down his neck. As he makes a mistake, hits the apex. That puts him in the fence.
Yeah, we'll just see Vartanian on the back bumper now as they come down this little straight there, but he's pulled back ever so slightly, so he might be trying to line up a move as they come through. That's the start-finish straight there. As they sweep it right and sweep it to the left there. Oh, Vartanian into the wall again, so there's not going to be much paint left of these two.
No, there's not. And behind, Daniel Hederscheid is scrapping away as well with Anthony Contarino. In fact, Contarino has just got by him. Up in front, Williams and Vartanian. Vartanian unable to get back by after that mistake at turn 2. Contarino's on the defence. And Hederscheid's looking, is not quite close enough, and he realises that and just pulls out of it. Down the back straight for the final time for Williams and Vartanian.
It does look like...
Yeah?
Sorry, Ryan. Yeah, it does look like Kobe Williams does have the upper hand. There's only a few corners left now, so Vartanian would have to be pretty strong there to try and put in a late corner effort, as we're just catching with Jackson Susan Harlow, our leader.
2 from 2 for Jackson Harlow as he comes back to the series. Lights flashing for him. He gets it done at Belle Isle to pick up race number 2. Steen Ledger will finish second. Closer in the longer race than he was in the shorter race. But to Harlow, J. Cool will finish in third. Vartanian goes from third to fifth from race 1 to race 2.
Yeah, we're just staying with this battle now with between Stuart Crawford, as we saw he was pretty unlucky in that first race, and Tim Cont. So Tim right on the back there of Stuart Crawford as they come through. Great run by both of them as we see Hederscheid that potentially might be looked at there. It was a DPR car. It did look like Hederscheid and oh, it's not, sorry. Did look like Hederscheid and
Dorino, who is side by
Richard
side
Hunter, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Contarino.
That was Contarino, right?
They
yeah, only 100th of a second between the two of them, so almost crossed the line together there.
Another case of two cars going for the same piece of real estate on the racetrack. Through the key lines getting slightly mushed together. And Hederscheid. Oh, did he? No. Who? Contarino got it by 100th of a second. That's a photo finish for the photo books. Another one for the not top 10, maybe. Let's look at our race results then from our final race here at Belle Isle. Harlow wins again by 9.3 seconds this time over Steen Ledger, who rounds out a solid debut in the series. J. Cool picks up a podium 15 seconds back ahead of Kobe Williams and Mario Vartani, and Stuart Crawford and Tim Corn finishing 6th and 7th ahead of Anthony Contarino, Daniel Hederscheid and Richard Hunter in 10th.
Just outside the top 10, we've got Cameron Thornton, Philip Bakasoulis, Dennis Hancock, Isaac Edwards, and a few of our retirees of Jack Patterson, Ira Felberg, and Reese Howe.
Well, that was an interesting finish, wasn't it? Between Hederscheid and Crawford, or out front, it was a case of just ease it to the line for Jackson Harlow as he walked it away from the line and then eased it back. 15 laps later, we're going to wrap things up here to get ready for our next show in 20 minutes here on Simspeed TV. Thanks to Infinity Sailors Photography and Prestige Trophy, Badge and Engraving once again for their support of the series. Make sure you check back in 20 minutes on Simspeed Esports Network on Facebook or Simspeed TV on YouTube for hard and fast from hell. The rallycross circuit, that is. We will be back. But for this series, we're going to say goodnight for now from myself, Ryan Jones, and Nick Scrayer alongside me, Jay Kennedy behind the scenes. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh
him.
my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys, I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.
God, what?